been deliberating on how to make this video for a while or what concept I want to talk about because it just keeps changing. Originally, I was thinking about talking about something a little bit different, and the original topic has changed a bit because I have few different perspectives when it comes to this. But mainly the idea that I want to talk about is that it's okay to be alone sometimes. It's okay to like step away and want to have some time for yourself. I know it's a little bit difficult to understand that in days where we're so like interconnected and spending time with everybody else is like as simple as just grabbing your phone. I think solitude has like many benefits that we just like kind of taken for granted or just like completely ignore as if it's not important. So when you're alone, it's when you actually come up with ideas. Like, for example, I believe there was like it might have been Einstein. I think he came up with the E equals MC square thing when he was in a boat by himself. It was just like one of the hobbies that he had. He would just like go on a boat on like a lake and he would just think about things. That's where he came up with this, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it's also like it's like it allows you to just relax, be in your inner world a little bit more. So some people they just have to be like constantly with somebody else. I don't think that's a bad thing because they just want to like interact with other people, but I think you should enjoy the time that you have alone, even if it's not that much. You can do things that aren't like necessarily, things like, for example, you can read a book, you can go for a walk, you can play a single player game, watch a movie, watch some anime, just like whatever. Just there are some things or sometimes that your brain benefits from you slowing down and doing some things like that you enjoy that also just make you feel more like yourself and kind of like let your nervous system relax for like a little while because we're constantly interacting with other people, whether it's at like our work or somewhere else. I think fragmenting your attention all the time can just keep you in like a constant state of like near burnout or like in a constant state of anxiety. Also, in that sense, I don't have anxiety, but I know that some people that have social anxiety, some of my best friends do. I've heard from them that they constantly think that they're being judged when they hang around with people. So I think maybe like for people who have these issues, it would be like better for them to like be on their own for a little while. Because when you're on your own, you're not really thinking about who's judging you or who is like thinking about you. You can just like be yourself and think about yourself and kind of like think about the activity that you're doing. I don't know. I like to take a day off each week where I will just like not take any calls, just be by myself. And that's the day that I feel like I actually get to relax the most and just be by myself. I've also talked before about how I prefer staying up at like late at night. That's also I sometimes I wake up like really early in the morning. It just really depends. My sleep schedule is really messed up, but it's kind of like about it's more about I like being awake at those times, like the early mornings because that's the time that it feels like nobody is awake and nobody wants to talk to you. So you can just exist and like take in the world as it is. I mean, I think it's just like healing or restoring in a way. Like if you're have you ever tried cooking like in the morning when everyone else is awake? It's asleep. It's so relaxing. I don't know what it is, but like 5 in the morning, that's like prime time for me to make like a steak, man. Like it just feels like completely different. Like you can feel like everything is like so slow. Everything just feels so nice and comfortable. But yeah, I think there's a bit of a difference, which is this is like the struggle that I had earlier coming up with like the topic to talk about. But there is a difference between like choosing to be alone and being alone because that's like the only thing that like can happen. So like if you don't have any friends or something like that, it's at that point it's a little bit sad because you don't have like the ability to like interact with other people, so you're not really making the choice. It's just that you are in this situation because it's just like the way that it could be. This is just what was like what could happen, or I guess what couldn't happen because you can't really interact with other people. So at that point, that is not like a choice. It is a little bit sad. I probably will make videos about like making friends and things like that in the future, or at least what worked for me. But yeah, I think that there's also another unhealthy version, which is just not coming back from it. Because I think like after I isolate for like a day or a little while, then I have like this feeling when I know like the break is ending or whatever. I don't know if you want to call it break, but like the time that I'm away is ending, that I just kind of feel like, man, I really want to like socialize with somebody. I really want to interact. I don't think I'm like an extrovert by any means, but it kind of like energizes me in a way to be alone, and then I want to be like it if I just like walk to the kitchen and my roommate is there and we have like a simple conversation for like 10 15 minutes, that just feels like a lot better after I've been alone for a little while. It just gives me like more energy to want to be around the people that I love in my life. So I think it's healthy in that sense. But then there's also like the point where it becomes unhealthy, where all you want to do is just like be alone. And then you never want to like come back from that. You never want to like speak to other people. I I think I've been guilty of this in the past. I've seen some people who are as well. Like in my case, I would just disappear for like weeks at a time, especially when I was like a teenager. I would like disappear for weeks, maybe playing like a specific game or something. I just didn't want to interact with people socially. I think you can like it's not bad if you have an end date to it, but it is bad if you just like constantly keep going away for like a long time. I think that is unhealthy, especially like because like if you do that for long term, it will damage your social skills and it will like deteriorate your relationships with your friends. It might become like a little bit like kind of weird to come back after a little bit of a break. So it is what it is, but I mean, it is important to spend some time by yourself. I think a lot of the personality that we form comes from us like thinking about the reality that we lived and like how we interpret ourselves, and that kind of like thoughts happen mostly when you're alone. That's why you have things like shower thoughts, or like you just have like the weirdest thoughts when you're in bed, like before sleep, because you're just like thinking about it. I think the problem when it might become a little bit problematic if you have like tendencies to think about negative things, because I know a lot of people they put like they blast podcasts and they just like play games at the same time or watch movies and have their phone on their hand at the same time, and they do this because they don't really like they want to minimize the chance of a thought ever happening. I think if you have like negative thoughts all the time, it's understandable, but also the more time you spend by yourself, the more comfortable you become in your own mind. So it is less likely that you get a thought like that. I don't know if there's like research to back this up or if maybe I'm just like completely off. It is just what I've noticed with like my own mind and the way that I am. But yeah, I mean there's like different things that being alone can help us. Like for example, I don't know. I think this is like a common thing, but the times that I've been like the most locked in as well have also been times when I have been alone. I think I don't like try to like I don't really perform expecting like anything or any validation from anybody else. So I just kind of like do it because I want to. So those are the times I get like the best grades or like the best ideas for things that I want to do or best results. Sometimes it's good to isolate ourselves like that, but sometimes it's not really like sometimes it makes it like a little bit difficult to and you start to miss connection, man, sometimes. But yeah, like for example, when I was doing my when I was getting my degree, we had to make like a game for our final assignment. I think during those 3 months that we had to make a game, I don't think I talked to anybody besides my classmates, like the classmates that I was making the project with, and maybe like one or two friends, but it wasn't like, cause I talked to like a lot of strangers often, especially in like online games, cause I might play CS or like League, and they might put like a link and be like, "Hey, join this Discord," and you just like join, I guess. But yeah, I would like often have this situation where I would just like lock in the most when I feel like I'm alone or like I have time to actually like think about these things. Yeah, it might be difficult for other people. I think it's perfectly natural and understandable for you to have a time where you're like not really curating yourself or meeting anybody's expectations, but you can just like be yourself. Like ways to do this could also be like just make a hobby that is just yours and just have that time every certain amount of time. It depends on how much energy you get from people. I imagine extroverted people have this easier because they don't have to like it's easier for them to be with people, so they don't really have to worry about being alone as often. But I think the more introverted you are, the more you start to think like, okay, I need to spend more time alone, I'm tired, I need to recharge. So yeah, I think that's something that is a little bit personality dependent, I guess. it it's really just like just have something that belongs to you, some space in your life that like isn't negotiated, and you can just be yourself. Because I don't think humans evolved, like humans are social creatures, but they didn't evolve to be with people 24/7 and like carry thoughts about this 24/7. And man, like our world is kind of brutal right now if you think about it. Like back in not even like long ago, back in my parents' time, they would just like, they would go to work, and the moment they come back from work, they just have like some free time where they can just be by themselves or like with very few people around them. That that is like healing. I think we've lost that in the today because you get home from work, and then you still have like your friend group on your phone that are like messaging you, maybe like different friend groups if you're social, but or you might just want to like be by yourself, and instead like some people are like messaging you like, hey, do you want to do this, and you're like, not really, but I mean we haven't hung out in a while, so maybe we should. And then you kind of like think about it. I don't know. I think I'm always open to like the opportunity to meet people, make friends, and things like that. But I also know that there is like time that I won't be able to negotiate, and I will just like not do. Like man, like this week there was like a classmate, and he was like the on Saturday. Saturday was the day I designated. Sorry, I had a moment there. The day that I designated for myself to like rest, and basically it was the day that I wanted to be alone. And this guy just like randomly messaged the group chat like, "Hey, I have like a farewell party for like some people that are coming this Saturday. If you guys wanna come, just like let me know and we can do it." And it's funny because I went to my roommate and I was like, "Bro, do you think you're going?" And he's like, I would like to, but at the same time, I don't really want to because I don't know there. So, I mean, I'll go if you go. And I was like, I don't think I'll go because I'm taking the time off that day. But like if he said it like, oh, we're doing this on Friday, I would have gone. So it's just like bad timing. But it is good to have some time that is non-negotiable. After Saturday, I ended up not going, but I just like felt the need to like Saturday just like kind of healed me, man, and refreshed me. And for example, the next day I just like really wanted to talk to people, I suppose. For example, I called my family, I called my girlfriend. We just spent like some time where we just like we were apart for like a little bit, not even like that long. And by the next day I was already like revitalized. I'm like, man, I really want to go back to interacting with people. So I wonder if it's like that for anyone else, or maybe it's just like I'm weird in that sense. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I have for this video. I hope you liked it. See, yep.